Hello everyone, and welcome back to WolfQuest: The Lost Tales. Now, this week, we had something unprecedented, something that's never happened before. We had two wolves who tied in the poll, and that's why we didn't have Lost Tales this week. I was giving it some more time to see if it would sort itself out, if somebody would end up, deciding to vote for one or the other over the course of the week, but no, it stayed firmly tied, and the tie was between Moose and Badger. And so what I'm going to do with this is, this week we'll be following one of them, and the next week we'll be following the other, and then we'll resume our normal voting. But since both of them technically won, that means both of them technically are going to get a side story. So this week we're going to be starting off, we're going to hit Begin Quest, and we're going to be playing on pretty easy, because we are starting with Moose. Now, Moose has a very interesting, very dramatic story, and some very specific challenges that are going to come with it. So first of all, if we look at pack stats, we can see that he only has 20% speed. He's got 50% stamina and 80% strength, but he's not fast. In fact, this is his top speed here. I think he might be the slowest wolf we've ever dealt with, and that's going to make it very difficult to hunt. Speaking of hunting, he's going to need to do a lot of it because his challenge is that during his time here on the mountain, he has to track down and kill a moose. Now, oh my! Okay, that's a cougar. Oh, get out of there. We're gonna do this because, well, I guess experience at this point is irrelevant. Oh, we missed. That's good. One more bite. One more bite. Oh, we got one more bite in. We've been managing to avoid it. Oh, it's on the run. Yes, okay, we chased it off. Well, experience is kind of irrelevant here because we don't actually need to take a mate, and in fact, we're not even allowed to take a mate. We have to complete Moose's story solo. But, there is one loophole here. So, he has to bring down a moose. We didn't specify what gender, so he's not required to bring down a bull moose. With that said, there's a good chance we're going to have to, because we need to find a moose on Amethyst Mountain, and cow moose are much more rare than bull moose. There are a lot of bull moose that spawn in specific places, and so we have a good chance of being able to find one of them. But there's not that many cow moose, and there's really only one spot that they spawn. And so we're going to have to hunt far and wide just to be able to, or that I know of at least, but we're going to have to hunt far and wide just to be able to manage to take down a moose at all, and to make sure that we have enough, to make sure we've got enough, enough food to be able to sustain our hunt regardless of where we start out. So, yeah, there is a loophole if we manage to be able to take advantage of it, and oh my goodness, that was almost 3 bites. He almost killed that coyote in 3 bites. Wow, okay. But yeah, so it's gonna be kind of interesting. We're gonna have to see how this ends up working out, and I'm not sure how it's gonna go. There's a chance things could go badly, and right now we just mostly need to be able to chase down the elk and to start doing some of the hunting. We're going to hunt a lot within this hunting ground, and then we'll probably hunt a few carcasses out in the directions we're expecting to be. Now, of course, the biggest danger here is that we're not allowed to take a mate, and so whatever we do, we're going to have to do completely solo. And basically a cow moose is roughly equivalent to a bull elk. And so, if you're thinking about, if you're looking for a point of reference, is that a fox? Hey, don't eat that carcass, we probably are going to need that. But yeah, so if you're looking for a point of reference, this is like taking down a bull elk solo, assuming we can even find a cow moose. And so there's a good chance that things may not go according to plan here. We have to be very, very careful. Moose's great strength is going to help him, but at the same time, he is gonna. Oh, here's the elk. Okay. He is going to have to try and figure out how to pull this off. Now, he's going to have a hard time catching up to any of these elk, but once he does, he can do a lot of damage very rapidly. And this may be one of the few situations which we actually rely a lot on the bite hold, because we can deal a lot of damage quickly with that and not have to keep chasing the elk down to bite it. So if we bite hold right here, look how fast that health goes down. We took off probably about 1/4 of that health all at once right there, and then we just kind of have to slow down. We can even sit and rest for a little while here and let our strength go up more quickly, or our stamina, that is. So, Yeah, we're gonna have to see how this ends up working because I'm not sure. It's gonna be interesting to see. Oop, we almost were there. Okay, there we go. We can do this again. We take off. Man, we do a lot of damage for sure. So that is good to know. And that's something we might do some with the moose, but I'm not sure because bite holding with a moose is a lot more dangerous. There's a lot less margin for error because if you actually get kicked, then it does a lot of damage. And that damage can add up very rapidly. So, we're gonna see how this works out. Now, speaking of hunting, this last week's devlog was actually about hunting, and specifically about hunting the hares. We got to finally see the new hares in more detail, and they're looking amazing. Every time they give us an update, it looks more and more incredible, and I cannot wait to see how this game ends up turning out because it's gonna be awesome, and I think it's gonna be well worth the wait. We have had to wait quite a long time for this, and I haven't heard them update their estimates as to getting it done for the end of this year, but even if they don't get it done by the end of this year, I think it'll still be well worth the wait. And I do see that bear, and we're gonna go chase that bear, because why the heck not? Let's go ahead and eat here, and then we'll go deal with that bear before he eats our carcasses. Actually, yeah, there's a reason to chase off that bear, because he's gonna go and try and steal our carcasses. Alright, we can just stay behind him. There we go. We actually did a considerable amount of damage to him there, too. That's pretty impressive. Most wolves won't do that much damage, they just can provide the incentive for the bear to leave. Now, with that said, I think the herd is up this way. Yeah, I see him through the trees there. Alright, I'm really looking forward to the scent system being reworked as well, because right now the system's not great, and it'll be really, really interesting to see how it's going to change and probably play a bigger role in the episodes to come, because again, we're not going to have to, we're not going to be able to find, like, we're not just going to be able to find, the elk in a specific spot every time. Yeah, there will be certain regions where they tend to be able to be found, and we're going to be looking for those regions probably, but you'll still have to find the elk within quite a large area, and it'll be really interesting to see that. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna go in and bite. Look how much damage we do with each bite too. I'm not used to playing with a wolf with this much strength, and so I'm kind of sitting here marveling at it. It's really amazing. It makes hunting fairly easy, actually. Wow. We probably, once we can chase the elk down, we can do so much damage so quickly. Here we go. We can do quite a bit here, hopefully before it runs. She is standing her ground still. She might decide not... Oh, no, she is going to run still. I was going to say, she almost seems like she's not going to run. But, wow, look at that. We just have to catch up to her at this point. Although she did do quite a bit of damage to us as well. And again, I'm looking forward to there being a lot more tactic in the hunting. So right now, you kind of just plan to take a certain amount of damage because there's really no way to avoid it. You just know you're going to get damaged a certain amount, and so you have to make sure you hunt before your health goes down too low. In the WolfQuest 3 update, there's going to be an actual hunting system that involves dodging, and that can, seems like from what we've seen that can apply on both ends, and so there will actually be ways to avoid taking damage, which completely changes the game, because now it's not about making sure you can out-endure your prey, but it's about actually avoiding them, basically. And that'll be really interesting to see how that ends up working. There's going to be a lot more strategy to it, and it means that hunts will become more varied and more different, and there will be more chance for things to rapidly change. I mean, I expect that if you're able to avoid being hit, then there's a good chance that being hit will have more serious consequences. Right now, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you just expect that you're going to be taking some damage. Why is that one elk, like, glitching its way off the screen there, too? It was like, it's not doing it now, but it was like, just, I don't even know. It was kind of weird. But, anyway, so yeah, there's going to be a lot more, I imagine there'll be more consequences. If you're allowed to avoid getting hit, then that probably means you should avoid getting hit. And that probably means there could be more consequences if you don't avoid getting hit. So I'm hoping that system will be a little bit more would be the word for it? I like games that react to the player. Like, I like games that will react, and if you make a mistake, then that's when you get punished for it. I'm not really a fan of random games. I don't like that. That's another reason we don't do a lot of randomized challenges. I like games that depend on my actions and my capability, and not just luck of the draw, if you will. So, I really like being able to have games that will, oh, where's the elk? Where'd they go? Did they go up here? They're over here. There they are. But yeah, I like games that my actions will directly impact. That it won't just be a thing where, oh, the game decided you died because random things happened and so you're dead now. I like games where it's like, okay, you attacked a bear and you shouldn't have done that, so you're dead now. I much prefer games that will directly punish me for my mistakes, but that won't just randomly hurt me, basically. I like when it comes down to my choices and my decisions. I like seeing them having an impact on it. I like being in control of cause and effect, essentially, because that adds real weight to your choices. So, like, right now, I can take down the strongest elk in this herd if I wanted to, but there's not really any incentive unless you happen to be substantially weakened already. There's not really any incentive to choose a weakened elk. I mean, you lose a little bit more health, but you just regain that by eating. Whereas if you have a big herd of elk, and there's a chance that some will be more weakened and more likely to just try to get away rather than standing their ground or whatnot, or more likely to not be able to hurt you as severely, then that adds real consequence to it. For example, maybe a weakened, and I'm speculating here, this is not confirming anything. Don't take this as, oh, she went this way, okay. Don't take this as me saying, oh, this is going to be in the game. It's not. Again, I'm on the beta team, but I'm not allowed to release information without permission, so anything I tell you here is purely my speculation. Anything that I'm told at any point that isn't public information I can't share with you, so if I'm sharing something with you, then don't expect that it's some sort of confirmation of some sort of secret thing that I heard. I'm not leaking information or anything. Anything you hear from me is either something that's already been publicly released, or it's me speculating based off what's been publicly released. So, with that said, I'm gonna track down where these elk went. But yeah, so what was I talking about? I was saying maybe there would be some sort of advantage to chasing down a weakened elk versus taking down a stronger one, so like maybe it'd be easier to catch, maybe it'd be less able to damage you. I would like to see a system like that come into play, because right now there's no real incentive to take on a weaker elk unless you just happen to be hunting once. And, I mean, again, that's something that I hope will change as well. I hope we won't have this whole surplus hunting thing going on in WolfQuest 3, because, again, it's really not that realistic. Wolves don't surplus hunt. They'll hunt once, and then when they're hungry, they'll hunt again. They don't bulk up like we do here. And so I'm hoping that's something that'll be different in the future versions as well. But I'm also hoping that there will be an actual real impact, and maybe something you could be looking for a weaker elk, because right now there's really not anything except for they start right into the chase. And for us, that's even a disadvantage, because that means we have to chase them longer. And with such little speed, then that means that our whole hunt takes longer. So, right now there's really no incentive to go after the weaker elves, whereas in real life, that's something wolves do. They'll try to choose the weaker prey if they can, because it's less threat to them and it's less chance that they'll end up seriously injured. And although the game is, it's still one of the most realistic games I've ever played, in terms of staying true to nature, that's something that it really doesn't reflect as well with this current system. And now that there's the capability of adding a better system, then I'm hoping we'll get to see that reflected a lot better, and I'm hoping that's something we'll get to see actually having an impact on the gameplay, rather than it just being something I have to talk about, well, this is something that's in the game, but it's not really realistic. Hopefully in the future we'll see the gameplay reflecting realism a lot more, and I'm really excited for that, because, honestly, if the WolfQuest team pulls off what they're trying to do, then it's going to be unprecedented. It's going to be something unlike anything we've ever seen before, and, they're basically going to break new ground in the world of video games when it comes to having a realistic nature simulator. Again, so far the closest ones that we have to realistic are probably WolfQuest, Shelter 2, and maybe Untamed. Untamed can be a little wonky sometimes, but for the most part, it's also fairly realistic, and Shelter 2 is pretty realistic in gameplay, if not in style. So these 3 games are currently our top contenders right now, in terms of a realistic wildlife simulator. And WolfQuest, if they can do what they've shown us that they're doing so far and pull it off, which it really looks like they're going to, then they are going to completely raise the bar for what it means to have a realistic wildlife simulator, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. Now, we play a lot of games on here, and that's not to say that if something's not realistic, it's necessarily bad, but it is always great to see games that do realistically reflect the real world, because they can teach us so much. This game can teach us a lot about wolves that we might not, we might not realize all of this otherwise. We might not have the chance to learn in all the ways that we do just by playing this game. Because, you know, all these things, it's not stuff that you necessarily think to just go and research sometimes. It really, games can teach us in a very interactive way, and that's why these realistic simulators are important. Now, I'd have more problems with a game claiming to be realistic when it's not than I would a game that's clearly not realistic. I enjoy just silly for fun games sometimes, even if they don't necessarily reflect real science, and we play our share of those too. But I think when you have a game that can teach us so much, I think there's a lot to that, and I think that's important, especially in the case of wolves, because there's still a lot of misplaced attitudes regarding them. Some people are still really scared of them, and some people maybe idealize them a bit too much. And so I think having a simulator like this that reflects the real world and real wolves in a pretty solid way is really important, because it helps show that, yeah, they're not the vicious killers that mankind long believed them to be, but at the same time, we don't want to humanize them either. They still are animals, and they have to make choices that will directly affect their survival, and that's sometimes what puts them in conflict with us. Now, with that said, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode here. I don't really want to kill the bull elk. I want to save our newly hunted carcasses for the eventual moose hunt, but hopefully we'll be able, there's a lot of carcasses, wow, hopefully we'll be able to find a moose. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend the next time up probably hunting as well, and then the episode after that we'll try and chase down a moose. And we'll probably do it like we did with Spark's story, where we try and spend 2 episodes consecutively. I'll record them without quitting the game in between, so that we have the time we need to finish the moose hunt. Now, with that said, we're going to go ahead and end off this episode here for today, because it is about that time again. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. But until then, this is Jay, over and out.